I guess we should say this. All right. Everybody is ready and set.
Yes.
And 3, 2, 1, let's go.
With 50 plus years of combined produce, supply chain, entrepreneurial, and business experience, Craig, Slate, and Ed Bertaud discuss the impacts of fresh produce on their lives and health. This podcast is a casual conversation between two friends just trying to get better. This is the Fresh CrEd.
Good morning, Ed Bertaud. And
good morning, Craig
Fresh
Slate.
CrEd. Hey, man. And the Fresh CrEd fans, hello and good morning to each and every one of you as well. Today, Ed, marks a big day for the Fresh CrEd.
Is today our last show?
What is that? Oh, man. Only you.
I thought maybe we were getting kicked off the air.
No, you know what? That's the beauty of the internet. You've got to be Donald Trump to get kicked off.
Yeah.
No, what is this a big day? It is not because we're getting kicked off. It is.
Oh,
come on.
It's not the first day of fall.
It's not. No.
It's not a lunar eclipse.
It's not the day after the Aggies beat the hell out of Alabama.
It's not April 15th. Is this the 20th anniversary thing y'all were talking about?
Oh, this is the damn 20th anniversary of the Fresh CrEd podcast.
Yeah.
Talking about, baby.
You know, I can't believe it. I really can't believe it. I can't believe we've stayed friends this long.
Well, I think it's waning.
Yeah. Yeah, you know.
The real question is, can we make 40? Can we double this? We'll see. That's going to be the real test.
Well, you know, you're the DraftKings guy. What do you think? I mean, you want to place a little wager on it?
Hell yeah, I'll take the over on that. I'll take the over on another 20 of these bad boys. Yeah, I really would. Okay. You know, even though your energy seems to be waning, I think we can make it.
Oh, thanks. That's a hell of a compliment.
Well, I'm just trying to make sure we keep that friendship alive.
That's a sure indictment of the future of our podcast.
No, I mean, come on. I think we're still having fun doing this. That's the whole premise of the deal.
It just takes more and more coffee every time. This is my third cup of Fit Fuel by Black Rifle Coffee. Black Rifle Coffee. Feel free to send me some Fit Fuel.
You know, we should at those guys on like the LinkedIn thing.
Yeah, we need to.
Yeah, we need to at them because we could really use a sponsor.
They're blowing up. They're not worried about us. I mean, I'm starting to see them in grocery stores. I'm starting to see them in gas stations. Like all of a sudden, they're just catching fire. But I don't know.
Well, why can't we be part of the flame?
Maybe I'll just go knock on their door, go to their corporate office.
You know, what I've found, I've been selling stuff for a long time. You know what the best way to sell something is?
Go sit in their waiting room?
No. Actually ask somebody to buy something. It's that simple. The best way to sell something is ask somebody to buy something.
Yeah.
You never actually sell anything if you don't ask somebody. So that's a given.
You are correct, sir.
Somebody told me, this is not my quote of the day, by the way, but boss I had, a good friend of mine now, whatever, but Tom Nist, he probably won't mind me sharing this quote, but he told me as we walked in, I've used this sales quote for years, and he said, Slate, he said, all I can tell you is we had no when we started. We can only go up from there. And I have lived by that. I've always got no when I start, and I can only go up from there. I mean, those are classic freaking words, man.
Yeah, it's very optimistic.
So, yeah. So Ed, go to Black Coffee. You already got no. What's the worst they can say?
Yeah.
Nothing. There's nothing. Yeah. So
there's nothing worse.
Anyway. All right. No. So, what is your day look like today?
So you were,
besides this exciting story,
other than you give me a hard time, capping on me.
Cap.
What else am I doing wrong?
I just said you're the one. You're the one taking the under. So, so what am I supposed to say? I'm taking the over on 40, and you're the one thinking it's the under. And so that only, I was just stating out. It's like, your energy seems to be, and I don't want it to go away. I want your energy here.
It's here.
I want you bringing the fire. I want you bringing.
Keep me caffeinated, and I'm here. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll start buying you that damn Black Rifle.
I'm on fire.
Mainline that stuff. Right?
I'm somewhat mentally on vacation. Somewhat. And I'll be honest with you.
Are you already packing?
I know this isn't work, by the way. This is a pleasure to be here with you. But I am a little mentally on vacation. It's the weirdest thing this time of year. I've got a lot of friends that hunt during hunting season. They go out, every weekend. I don't really do that. It's my one big, I'll go here and there, but my one big trip, which is this Colorado trip, like,
right.
Once I get about a month out, a couple weeks out, like I'm thinking about it a lot. I'm ready to go. Like it's been super busy this year, oddly enough, because a lot of folks have not been. So I'm very thankful and grateful for that. We've got a lot of projects going on. But I'm mentally ready to go and just start my vacation. So I'm not checked out, but I'm ready. Like and I don't, at the same time, I know that before I know it, I'll be back home and it'll be over and I'll be thinking about next year. And so I'm trying to really enjoy the anticipation, enjoy the process. Later on today, I'll be packing a lot of gear and, obsessing about whether or not I have the right things or not. And then, the travel component, and then obviously the being there, experiencing and coming back. So trying to enjoy every little phase of it.
And that's an awesome attitude, for real. That is, because it's good that you've got something like that. You've got this 2 weeks that you're that honed in on, right? As much as you love golf and other things that you like, for you to be this all in, and you've done this. What did you say? This is 10 years, 15 years? How long you been doing this?
Oh, off and on for more, since over 25 years. Yeah, since right up 20 years old, probably. Off, I've skipped years here and there, but yeah, quite a while.
But it's amazing that you still have that passion for it after that many times, right? It's that's crazy to think that you're still, like I say, that passionate about it. And I think it's super wise. It's showing, obviously your growth or your knowledge or your age or whatever, but to say, look, I'm trying to appreciate every moment because that these moments are going to come, they're going to go, and like I said, you'll be back and looking forward to next year. I'm just curious. What do you think? If you had to distill it down, because I know it's really not about the kill. You know what I take. So you tell me what you think the one thing is that really makes this so special for you.
It's two parts. One is, my connection with an old friend. One of my oldest friends, best friends. And then the other is just the connection with nature and the vastness of the land where we're at, like where we go. It's just different.
Mm-hmm.
When you live in flatlands and you're going to the mountains and it's just a different experience. I mean, it's funny. I was watching one of these shows, Alaskan Bush People. I like to watch, and they moved to Washington, right? And the kids, after growing up in Alaska, I mean, you'd think you sent them to the desert. The way they talk. They're in Washington State, living in the mountains, but for them, it's not enough. Like, it's got to be Alaska or nothing. Washington is like Washington State. Living on a mountain for them is like living downtown New York.
Yeah. Wow.
And so it's all about perspective, but those are the two main things. I mean, there's some tradition in there. There's some, but you're right. It's not about tagging out. It's about the just being there and just experiencing the outdoors in such a really big way that folks that live in that part of the country, particularly that have access to a lot of public land. You're talking huge parks, hundreds of thousands of acres, or BLM land, Bureau of Land Management, that you don't get to experience in Texas. I mean, Texas, there is some public land, but by and large, particularly where I live, most land is privately owned. So there's not a lot of opportunity to go explore, with the exception of, state parks. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Well, it reminds me of a quote. So years ago, my brother, he was with AT&T. They had a motivational speaker guy come through, left him with some tapes. A guy named Bob Mowat. He had a couple of good quotes on these tapes, and I was a kid. I've been weird all my life, so I listened to the tapes. And he had a saying in there that stuck with me. And this your journey, what you're talking about here, is emblematic of life and in this quote. But his quote was, as a motivational speaker, "It's the hunt that's the thrill, not the kill."
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's
and you remembered it
in life. Yeah, no, it stuck with me. I mean, like I say, that those are. There was two, but that's one of the two that really stuck with me as to what he had to say. And I've thought about that. It is the journey. It is the trials, the struggles, like I say. But you're smart enough at this point in your life, going back to what I was saying, is you're not missing these moments, or at least you're trying not to miss the moments. You're not trying to. You're trying to take stock. Packing today is going to be part of the hunt, right? And leading up to the hunt over the next 2 weeks before you get in the car and take off driving, and then that drive's going to be all that's part of the hunt, right? I mean, it's the journey that it's all part of it. Seeing your best friend and regrouping there, and so I get it. I think that's for everybody listening or whatever. I think it's a great example, right? You found something that you're fortunate. You found something in your life that you have that you at least condense down, kind of the way ideally you would like to live every day, right? You'd like to have that passion and that but we probably should, if we stop and think about it, we probably shouldn't throw away the other 50 weeks out of our year, gearing up for 2. Not saying that's what you do, but I'm just saying that for the most part, all of us probably miss out on the bigger part of our life because we're not really focused on the journey itself. We're focused on the end game, whether it's at work or in our personal lives or whatever. And we miss a lot of stuff because we don't slow down. There's another quote from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and it is, life comes at you fast. Maybe you should slow down a little bit and try and enjoy some of it. Probably that's a paraphrase. It's close to that, though.
Good movie. But if I had my choice to not know any better, I would have liked to have lived a subsistence lifestyle. Not the cool way that it's being done now, like the off the grid kind of cool trendy way, but the way it was done maybe 50, 60, even 100 years ago.
Really?
Yeah. The problem is I know better, and I know what's out there, and I know what, the world has to afford. So I can't say that I could just drop everything and go do that now, but that would be a dream. Yeah.
So all right. So this is a great discussion question. So
how the hell did we get here?
Would you I don't know. This is a good rabbit hole though. This is ideal. This is this damn show, Ed. This is how me and you have our normal conversations. Back before we did this podcast and we actually talked, we would do this. So my question to you is
was
would
that before you stopped liking me?
I mean, I'm sorry, trash. would you quit with the self-deprecation? Come on. Huh? I love you, man. I love you.
You ruined my life. Let me ask this question. I love you. God damn it. That's what a 20th anniversary couple would sound like,
That's not today, is it?
No.
Okay. Anyway. Don't want to ask any question around that. I just want to know if you. So what I'm trying to understand is ignorance bliss? I mean, in other words, you wish you were ignorant to all the trappings that life has to offer and stuck with a substance. What's the word?
Subsistence
lifestyle, like the old cowboy man. Right, so ignorance is bliss. You don't know anything about the trappings. You're just out there scraping along. Got your freaking pot of coffee on the fire. No black rifle, nothing. Right, it's whatever ground up Folgers they had back then. So is ignorance bliss, or given the opportunity, right? You didn't have responsibilities. Would you stop your life and go and move to the outskirts of Alaska and just live that life?
That'd be, yeah. I couldn't.
Which one? I mean, so what? When you say you can't, so my question, that question is, which one do you think is in your dream head? Right? Which one would you dream? The ignorant. The ignorance is bliss. So
I don't know. I don't know if you'd enjoy it as much. That's a problem, right? So if you don't know that there's anything else, then how do you? We talked about this before. Like you have to go through hard times to enjoy the good times. So it's very similar. I mean, if you have no point of reference, then it's not as enjoyable. So that's why this whole argument is pretty much gets blown up, because if I didn't know any better, then it wouldn't be that great. And the idea of me just picking up one day and leaving and going to live out in the middle of nowhere, my body wouldn't hold together. I mean, I don't know if it'd be any different than what if I led a life of daily activity, which I kind of already do, but not to that extent. Yeah, I mean, I think age is what the scary part is of that subsistence lifestyle, which is why, people had large families, was to really help in taking over all the chores and responsibilities as parents age out and can't do the same stuff anymore.
So whether it's you're
it's a very physical lifestyle.
It is, but here's the twist, or here's the thing, right? So there was that cowboy, there was that person that lived that life that you kind of fantasize about, right? It was ignorant. There were no things, there were no cars, there weren't things. So, not only were they ignorant, it wasn't even accessible, right? So they didn't have access to it. And then there's the guy, Ed Bertaud, living this life right now with access to all these trappings and with all these experiences, be it golf playing, be it black rifle coffee, be it amazing squid, whatever, right? You have access to all these trappings. So the deal is whether you're the cowboy and ignorant and inaccessible, or you're the Ed and the woke individual that is aware and up and everything, shouldn't we just enjoy whatever lifestyle we're living and make the most of what we have? So whether if you're the cowboy under the stars, living that life, you appreciate that, right? You know, in other words, instead of, dang, I wished I had an easier life. Dang, I wished I didn't have to freaking work so dang hard. You stop and think, gosh, it's beautiful. Look how vast this place is. Look at these stars and and I'm free. I get to do wherever we're at in life, whatever our journey is, whatever, whether, the fact that you go 2 weeks, you get to play outdoor man for 2 weeks out of the year with all the cool equipment that you get to take with you. You really don't have to freeze your butt off or nothing. You get to go play that for a couple of weeks, have a great time, come home and dream about it for the next year. So in sense, if we're smart, all of us, we'll look at what we have, and that's where we'll find the happiness, not in fantasizing about what we don't have or what we could be or might be. Maybe if we just stopped and recognize what we do have and how awesome the stuff we do have is, maybe we'd probably suffer a little bit less. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you're condemning me a little bit. I mean, I don't think I was that hung up on it, but I do enjoy it all. Right? I enjoy my day to day, and I enjoy my what. What are you doing?
What? You frustrate the hell out of me. There's no condemnation here.
Okay, good. I think if anything,
I'm speaking to myself. I'm speaking to myself as much as you. I'm speaking to you. I'm speaking to me. I'm speaking to Lord. I'm speaking to the total. I'm using your story as a great example, right? That's the whole. I'm just expanding your thought process, your way of thinking, and saying, look, that's a great example for all of us to kind of look at and question, right? Because all of us fantasize about what we think we might want to be. I mean, let's face it. I mean, I'm watching Leonard Skinner last night, a documentary on those guys, and I'm thinking, you know what? I told Tanya, I was like, if I had the one thing that I could do, right? You know what I would do? I would be the lead singer of a band.
Yeah. I believe that.
I'd be Mick Jagger, something like that.
Yeah.
God, what a life. But
I guess the only thing that I really probably won't ever get over, and I think it's healthy, is it's taken me so long to figure out just to be happy with what I have. But it's hard to do when you want to have ambition and progress. And so it's counterintuitive to just be complacent and, while you're at the same time, have ambition. So I think that's where we get two things crossed. But I wish it wouldn't have taken me, almost 50 years to figure out, hey, you should enjoy a little bit of this, because eventually you're either not going to be able to do it or maybe you just don't want to, so yeah, I think if anything, if I can share with my family, my kids in particular, is to try to bridge that learning curve, right, on everything, whether it's life, work, career, education, all those things that help our next generation get better, is bridging the learning curve and shortening that gap so that progress can be met sooner.
Amen. Because I have seen and been with people that they didn't figure it out after 50 years, 60 years, sometimes even more, right? So yeah, it's obviously I'm with you. Amen. Let's the people, whoever we can help, like you say, bridge that learning curve, shorten that time frame when they figure that piece out, that you know what, you better drink it in and enjoy the moment and the stuff you're doing right now, because like I say, may not be able to do it, may not be here to do it, because there's a lot of people that go through this entire process and they never figure it out. So I'm thankful, whatever, I guess it took me about 45, 50 years as well. I'm thankful that I got it figured out. I figured out shit. I at least became aware that I didn't have it figured out and started trying to figure it out, and I'll spend the next 150 years or whatever I got left figuring out the rest of it. So I got a lot of time to kind of
so you're a pretty positive person, but are you ever around people that are so positive it doesn't sound genuine, or doesn't sound like they're trying to convince themselves? Do you need that? Do you need to vocalize it in order to convince yourself to be in that mind frame, or can you just do it? Because I feel like that's where I get turned off a little bit. Like, when it's a little over the top and there's just too much. I don't know if too much
I think there's an answer
is a thing, but
honestly, Ed, I'm of the guides that sincerity is obvious, and or honesty, sincerity, honesty. It's obvious. You either know somebody's genuine or not. It's that simple. And yeah, I guess there are certainly people that, and hopefully, again, I did, people accuse, I get this a lot. People accuse me of being, whether I'm positive and Mr. Energy and all this kind of stuff, right? And I actually have I'm not always positive. Obviously, anybody that's been around me knows that I can be the most cutting individual you've ever been around. So that's not really helpful for people that you're around or love. So and so that's although Craig may be Mr. Positive, he's not really putting out positive energy sometimes because, like I say, I can be quite the smartass. So I also want to be a comedian. So that was the other thing, a singer, a comedian. So I'm practicing my comedy, and I'm sorry that I hurt people along the way. No, but I'm just saying is the positive attitude or positive way.
Get out. You don't say. Stop. Get out of here.
Hey, you chose to come on this show, buddy. Come on. Nobody put a gun to your head.
Can I just say, this is not shaping up to be a fun-sized version of the Fresh CrEd
No,
podcast.
It's not. You're going to have to quit drinking that whatever you drink before these shows, thinking that we're actually going to have a short version. And anybody that tunes in that thinks we're going to have a short version, they're going to have to just quit tuning in because
or take a long drive.
I have way too much. We have way too much to say, Ed. We're not cutting the world short of all this.
I can't wait for that 24-hour drive. Can we do 4 more after this? So I have 24 hours to listen to all the way to Colorado, and then I can take notes. I'll send you my critiques when I get back.
That sounds like a great plan. Yeah, as we talk about positive attitudes, critiques. That's where you go. You go to the critique. That's what you want to send back. You don't send back any good feedback, just the critique. Anyway, I don't know about you. There are absolutely people that promote they try and be positive to cover up. And like I say, I hope people don't feel like I do that. I literally feel pretty good about the world. I feel pretty good about me. In fact, I'll borderline being arrogant. So, I have to try not to feel too good about me.
I mean, you're happy for yourself, right? You're happy for yourself.
I am pretty happy.
Let's call it that.
But I'll be honest with you. I truly believe that my lot in life is a lot of it's without my doing, right? I got blessed with outstanding parents. I got blessed with some great siblings. I got great kids. I got a great wife. I've been blessed a long way. Certainly some of the stuff's been, I've been able to do, but great friends. Absolutely. And most of my good friends, right? And the business, I got stuck in this produce business. I'd have never thought, if you'd asked me when I was a kid, you can love this industry I'm in and the people in it. I've made more good moves being stupid than I have being intelligent. I can tell you that. So it's the old, rather be lucky than good. I have been super lucky in a lot of things in my life. So I appreciate that. Right. And again, that's not to say I don't get down. That's not to say I don't have bad days and stuff doesn't go wrong. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with myself, but not because I did much. It's really because I just, got born under a lucky star, I guess. I don't know. It's been a good life. It's been great. And I'm thankful every day of the people in my life. So, whoo-wee. There you go. Yeah, I see that tear. Love you too, Ed.
Oh, man.
I love you too, baby.
That's good stuff. No, it is. I mean, look, I figure you would have figured it out either way. And there's just people like that, right? Like, regardless of the industry that you want. I mean, you were just destined to figure out life. And then, there's obvious extreme cases to either side, right? Both ways. There are, Steve Jobs, and then there's Greg Slate. I mean, success is relative.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say I'm not sure how I got in the Steve Jobs category.
Yeah, well, I mean, like
crazy, maybe the crazy part.
But then there's also, to the other extreme, folks that get caught in. I mean, I'm convinced that a lot of challenges that folks face at an early age is believing that they're too good to do anything, right? I mean, I think that's a real challenge today, and even back when we were kids. Like, you really have to humble yourself to get started, and if you don't, then you never get started, and then it's too late. I mean, there's a time and season for everything in your life, and I think if you mess around and wait too long, then it becomes a daunting task. And I mean, I'm talking about like career development, right? So jobs, like folks that turn their nose up at at a job because they feel like they're better than that, and the reality is you have to start somewhere. You have to start somewhere.
And you got to be willing to pay a price, or put in your dues, however you want to frame it, right? There's a lot of hard work, and people look around, particularly at older individuals like us, and we've done pretty good, but they don't know the grind that took place in the early days, right? And don't know the scary moments, and but that's okay. And that's I would tell you that most uber successful people, it cracks me up. Everybody talks about Jeff Bezos, right? And they see Jeff Bezos today putting rockets into space, and he's a multi-billionaire. Da 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 da. This is a dude that started a bookstore. Okay, so it was really nothing terribly revolutionary. He started
Wasn't it in his garage?
Basically, yeah. His parents. Yeah. His parents funded the starting of Amazon. Now think about Bryce. Bryce comes to you, or maybe didn't. Maybe I don't even know if Jeff went to his parents and they just said, "Hey, we're going to put money behind this thing." We think, but imagine Bryce, or I could say Granger, or whatever. But imagine Bryce comes to you in Cali and says, "Hey, guys, I need $140,000." Now this would have been in the I can't remember if it was 80s or early 90s. I think it's early 90s. I need 140 grand. But here's the caveat. You're probably not going to get your money back. This thing's probably not going to work. What do you say? Would you have written that check? Would you write that check today when 140,000 is not even very close to what $140,000 was back when you started? Would you write that check? I'll answer I'll answer for Craig. Ain't a snowball's chance in hell I'm writing
regardless of the business plan.
It's a bookstore in the 90s that's online. And he tells you, I don't think you're going to get your money back.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
It's not tough at all. There's almost nobody that's going to, I don't know what his parents were thinking, unless he's just making that part up about where he told them they probably weren't going to get their money back. But the point being is Amazon started with nothing. And then Amazon almost went under. I mean, in the dot-com bubble, they were part of that. And all those companies got massively devalued and dropped. And they were close to being gone several times. And there was they spent so much money in the early days. I mean, everybody just said, these guys, they're never going to be anything. For years. I mean, you look back at the reports, 2005 or whatever, these guys are just burning cash. They're not going to be anything. But now everybody sees this guy. He could have failed 1,000,000 times in the process of building Amazon. But now the only thing anybody sees is Jeff Bezos and William Shatner.
Eccentric billionaire.
Yeah, that's it. That's all you see, right? You don't see the journey. You don't see the struggle. You don't know how many nights he laid awake not knowing if he's going to get his parents' money back, right? And I don't know. We went off on a tangent. Point being is none of us know anybody's journey, right? Whether it's a billionaire or whether it's just, somebody that's, regular Joe or Jill, right? We don't know the struggle and what got them there. That's why you always got to be careful. Try not to judge that book by its cover, right? Because you don't know.
Yeah.
So
it's true.
All right.
Wow.
So we have emotionally tugged on everybody's heartstring.
Yeah, I'm exhausted already. I'm exhausted.
I'm wore out. I need a shrink real bad.
I feel beat up, exhausted, ashamed, motivated, happy, sad.
My goodness.
Yeah.
We've hit all the emotions. Well, so that's what it should be, the 20th. We should be a soul searching episode for the 20th.
A fun-sized soul searching episode.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Snack-sized.
So you know what? We've gone after everybody's soul. Now let's go after everybody's pocketbook.
Okay.
We've got on the list. Let's talk inflation, brother. Have you sensed any inflation out there? Is it as transitory as the chairman of the Federal Reserve said? Is this a transitory inflation situation?
We were just talking about this morning, and I actually jotted down my wife and I, Callie. We've noticed grocery bill growing. Of course, we eat a lot. Mm-hmm. And we've been eating at home, there's 4 of us. So it adds up. And one of us, not me, eats about 10,000 calories a day. So it gets really expensive. And
is he tall?
Yeah, eats a lot. Definitely not on the fasting program. We went to breakfast yesterday. He ordered 10 eggs, and the server looked at him like he was from outer space. And he ate 10 eggs.
Jesus.
Anyway,
just eggs? Did he eat anything else?
No. Well, it was one meal with all of the, sides, and then can you please add 8 eggs to that? And so they just brought a big plate of eggs. Anyway, so we were just talking about how, I don't know how it's stings us, and we only have 2 kids. I can't imagine people with more than 2. I couldn't have seen us having, I would have loved to have had a big family. I say that, but my patience level probably wouldn't have been good. I can't stand a lot of noise when I'm trying to do something. As it is right now with 4 people in the house, it feels like it's a damn rave. So I can't imagine, I can't imagine 5 or 6
Good
kids.
God, you are my wife in man's clothing. Just saying.
I would definitely need to be medicated.
Could you imagine living with me, Ed? Can you imagine how you would feel living with me 24/7?
I don't want to let my mind go there.
So just think about Tanya. Just think about she's done this for over 30 freaking years, brother.
There might be
and then Granger got added to the mix to make it really challenging. They added Granger.
There might be a sainthood in it for her.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, I'm sorry. So we're talking inflation, and you're
we were just
you want to point out you don't like noise.
We're talking about folks that have a lot more kids than we do, and how are they doing it? Of course, you adjust, right? But
yeah,
everything's up. And honestly, I mean, at least by the numbers, it seems to be that groceries, food in general, restaurant prices, they're a little more modest increases versus fuel, transport, electricity. It's really, kind of food as a whole is, I think, trending about plus 5%. Meat, poultry, fish, eggs, a little over 10%. Restaurant prices, about 5%. Whereas fuel, I don't know, did I say 42% on gas?
You didn't say, you didn't say the percentage, but
and this is September of this year versus September of last year. So, hotel rooms up 18%, which I thought that was kind of odd. I don't know if they're trying to make it all back, and I think there's a little
hotel rooms in Vegas are pricing higher than they did in 2019. So prior to pandemic, hotels in Vegas right now are pricing much higher than prior to 2019.
They're trying to make some of it back, right?
Well, but it's not. They don't have to try. I mean, there are people wanting to go there. The demand, it's like anything else. They wouldn't be able to charge it if somebody wouldn't pay.
True. Yeah.
No, I mean, it is. I've been convinced on this. I mean, to me, it's like obvious the amount of inflation that's out there, and it's when the Fed chair came out several months back, and I know you don't necessarily watch all this stuff. You're not an addict like I am, but when it came out talking about it being transitory, I was like, man, what planet are you on? I mean, I get it. Lumber prices will spike, and lumber prices will come back some. They probably won't come back to where they were, but they'll go up. And, some of those inputs, there's no doubt. Some of that will be, quote, unquote, transitory, or, it will come back off of its peak, in which lumber has come down. And we've seen some of that. And now container ships, all the hoopla about shipping containers, the cost of doing that. So you get some of that. But number one, I mean, I can tell you from a business standpoint, wage rates have gone up, and wage rates don't come back down. It's not like, hey, we're going to pay you this much this year, and then next year we're like, hey, we're taking that back. You don't ever take that back. So wages are up. You talked about gas, and I don't know if you know, but I mean, this is just the gas that you're putting in the car. But oil prices, barrel of oil is over $80, highest price it's been in over 7 years. It's probably going to break 100. If you ask me, it's breaking 100. The natural gas pricing has gone off the rails. Big, long, you can't get, natural gas, you have to liquefy it to get it and transport it. And we have a ton here, so our prices are still on a global basis super low compared to Great Britain and other parts of the world, where they depend on it and they don't have the capacity to produce it. The prices are, I don't know, $30 a unit versus $5-6 a unit here. So to give you some kind of disparity, that's going to be going up. Your heating costs, everything's going to be expensive this year. But the deal is natural gas, one of the number one inputs into fertilizer is natural gas. It's one of the fertilizers for us and for ranches and everything is up just off the charts. I mean, it's like 60% increase in fertilizers, which all that translates to food costs. Again, it is here. It is real, and it's going to be a big issue. I mean, this is where non-positive CrEd starts to get in. So you see it here, I've Mr. Positive on some things. Yeah, here is the non-positive CrEd, and I'm just telling you. I mean,
I like this guy.
For me, yeah, you can relate to this guy, right? So in the 70s, when I was a kid, we had what was called stagflation. And I have been convinced for some time, didn't know exactly how we were going to get there till now. Now I know how we're going to get there. But before, I've been convinced for some time we were headed for a stagflation situation. And what stagflation is, if you don't know, or anybody out there, so, when, inflation typically is driven by increased consumption. So obviously the demand gets higher, supply gets lower, and so you have inflation. Well, in a stagflation situation, you have some other force that increases the cost or the prices of things, yet it's not driven by demand, meaning demand is stagnant. So there's not really people buying stuff, but prices are going up. And that's what we have, and that's what we're headed for. I mean, just go try and find some furniture. Go try. Heck, I go to there's a Walgreens here that looks like I've been in there a couple of times. I was like, where's all your inventory? There's nothing on the shelf. I tried to buy bug spray the other day. There was one freaking can left. I mean, one out of everything. And I was like, hey, man, where's everything at? And this is like the third time I've asked this question. Oh, yeah, truck's late or whatever.
It's out off the port of Long Beach.
Yeah, well, it's off the port of Long Beach, or it's stuck over in Vietnam. I mean, there's manufacturing that got shut down. There's containers that can't get unloaded. There's the cost of truck. There is so much going on in the supply chain that we're going to go into this Christmas season, and there is not going to be stuff to sell. Not like it, demand's going to be there. There's going to be people with money willing to spend it. Problem is, there's not going to be stuff to buy, and that creates, like I say, we've got inflation. We've got all these prices increasing like we just talked about, but you're going to have stagflation. So the companies that sell things, pick anybody, right? Pick a shoe salesman. Nike just had a really bad report because of inventory issues, right? Nike's last quarterly earnings report was bad because, like I say, they had inventory issues. They couldn't get supply. Well, Foot Locker, they're in the business of selling shoes. It's probably if they have a trouble getting shoes to sell, it's not that they don't have people wanting to buy it, but they got nothing to sell. It's going to hurt them. Therefore, you get stagflation, right? So you get higher prices, but you don't have higher sales. So there's my flip from positive CrEd to negative CrEd, and batten down the hatches, folks. It's going to be a rough. It's going to be a rough year in 2022, I think, economically. So
well,
and on that note,
well, no, I was just going to say, it sounds like this Christmas might be an opportunity to pare down, and frankly, I think we overdo it. Our expectations get set so high with holiday gift giving that maybe this is an opportunity to, I know it's probably not the good thing, or right thing for the economy, but most people won't do it anyway. So for those few of us that would like to focus on a little more of the important aspect of the holidays, spending time with family and doing good work and helping those in need, maybe this is the year to really focus on that. And I know we get wrapped up in the material aspect, which not just because I'm trying to be cheap, but it just bothers me every year. It seems like it's worse and worse.
So that is that movement is somewhat taking place, what you're talking about, which is actually a potential good thing that comes out of some of this stuff, right? I was hearing a deal the other day. People are buying experiences for Christmas, right? They're doing things like setting up camping trips with the family, or concert tickets, are starting to come back on, and people are going to concerts and going to shows, and so that is, they can't go buy Nintendo Switches, but they're able to buy, like I say, experiences, and that's probably better, again, economically, there's a potential price to be paid. I mean, as an adjustment, being a capitalist society, it's really important that we have people spending their brains out to keep the economic engine running, right?
Yeah.
So,
but it's okay if just us, we and our listeners,
That's right. Yeah, we just keep it to this group, right? we. But no, I mean, I think, but I think that's a positive spin on, and that's something of interest, And I was going to talk about, in looking at something. If we wind up getting to talking about crypto, I was looking at some stuff on Visa, and going into the pandemic, we in the 2019, the U.S. had hit the highest credit card max, I guess, that we had ever had, or whatever. We peaked at credit card debt. And through the pandemic, because the world was shut down, we couldn't spend, we were getting money from the government, all that kind of stuff. People use that money to pay down their credit card debt. And we're now at one of the lowest points on a credit card debt standpoint as a country. The U.S. consumer, what they, their balance sheet, what they've got at home is the best it's looked, maybe ever, but certainly in many years. It's probably not ever, but it is in super good shape in terms of people being leveraged out of their mind, and all that kind of stuff. So again, they weren't spending like crazy because there was nowhere to go, wasn't things they could do, and they were getting money, and so they were using that money to pay down debt. So there was something good that came out of it. Problem is the economic engine that keeps us going. It really needs people spending money. So it's kind of a tricky deal. Stagflation. That's what's got coming. You heard it here.
Yeah. I'm going to make a note of that,
but
so we don't talk about it again. Okay. It's kind of a downer.
Oh, Dad, I wanted to say, last year y'all did something really cool.
Who's y'all?
And you and Mom. So y'all asked the family to pick places to donate to, and that was like your gift to us, as well. And I thought that was amazing, because I don't have that kind of money to donate, but you did that for me. And I don't know, it was just, I
hope he
really
sent
wonderful.
You a receipt.
I liked it. Well, he did, kind of. Yeah, there was an email. And I picked one that was actually matching donations at the time. So his money went even further.
Doubled up.
Okay, let me ask you this. Who got to write it off on their taxes?
Dad.
Okay.
Yeah, great gift.
Probably the only one that has anything. I'm the only one that has anything to write
out.
I
love it. On. I'm just saying it's a good idea. Instead of, giving people stuff, if you're in the position to help them make donations, I thought it was really, really
That's
cool.
very socially responsible.
Yeah. So thank you for last
year.
Well,
I'm sure we'll be doing that, really but I can assure you the other thing that I've got for you guys is you're probably going to enjoy, which even Mom doesn't even know what I got planned for you guys. So, but okay, yeah, the other option I've got for y'all is probably going to be, but yeah, we'll be doing that donation thing that will occur again this year. That's a traditional deal,
and it's something I want to do for Viola one day too. I don't know. It was really cool growing up, being of service, doing mission trips, all that kind of stuff, and helping was awesome. And I want to give that to Violet.
Good. Wow. But yeah, I'd absolutely write it off on taxes. You're crazy if you think I
don't. Yep.
All right. So inflation, you don't want to talk about that no more. That's not your happy space.
I woke up on the wrong side of the bed today, as you pointed out. And then I actually came around and I was feeling good. And now I'm starting to fade. So yeah, let's get off of stagflation. How I want to check in with you real quick before we go on to our traditional touch points of quotes, food, produce. How's sober? What is it? October? Is that still going?
Sober October.
And
Yeah,
don't give me one of these
so
except for a beer I had the other day, or except for like, is it sober or not? Oh yeah, it's great except for the one old fashioned I had per day in the last week.
Okay, I've had one, and it was with my son at my favorite watering hole. So I think you and the listener should give me a pass on that one. Okay,
no pass.
But no, yeah, it's honestly, it's not that big a deal. I got to be honest. I do. I enjoy the social component that comes with it. I mean, it is a little weird. Like when I was in Vegas, and and quitting cigars is not part of the sober October. So we went to a cigar bar, after dinner, and having coffee was different socially, but it really wasn't that bad because I love coffee. My deal is I've got to be drinking something, whether it's, so, from like when I'm having dinner or whatever, I do these, LaCroix, whatever those sparkling waters, LaCroix, and put that in a fancy glass, or put in a wine glass, something like that. Or I do, I've got a kombucha that I do with, it's a non-sugar, no sugar added kombucha, but super good. But I've got to be drinking something constantly. It's always been that way, and so it's not that big a deal as long as I've got substitutes, whether it's hot tea or coffee or, like I said, kombucha. But I've got to be putting something in there, and you know, like I told you last time we talked, I don't know that I feel sick. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know that I feel significantly better. The only time you feel bad with alcohol for me, that you feel obviously different, is when you just drink too much of crappy alcohol, typically, right? If you have a couple old fashions or a couple of glasses of wine, it's really not terribly bad unless you do it just before you go to bed. It's when you get festive. That's the festive times that freaking kick you in the ass,
Yeah.
And I have a tendency to lean towards festive a little more than I should, and I'm just a festive guy.
You're a festive guy. You are a festive guy.
So, but yeah, no, sober October's gone well. And like I say, it's
well, I for one am proud of you, even though you're trying to downplay it. I mean, it is.
Well, thank you.
I mean, it takes some willpower, if that's something that you're used to partaking in, which you admittedly said. So you're definitely an oak.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like I told you before, though, I mean, I'm equally or more so proud of, your choice, because yours is much more long term. I mean, I'm not kidding. I'm doing mine on a short term basis. I'm making no freaking delusional expectations, and I'm doing this long term. So I'm pretty well, doing this short time, and then I don't know, like I say, but I have been trying. I mean, not trying. I mean, I've been doing a pretty good job of not being festive too much, but your choice. I like the idea, your idea of a little ranch water here and there, but keeping that on the limiting it down to one flavor, which probably tequila is probably the one that seems to do the least damage. And yeah, you have ranch waters on a very rare occasion, so I am, like I said, equally as proud of you, if not more so, because yours is a little more long term.
Yeah. So, well, thanks.
There you go.
I feel good about it too. Yes, honestly, I don't think about it that much, which makes me feel even better, because it has to be, has to be a natural, not occurrence, but it has to come naturally, I guess, if you will.
And I think that's all of this lifestyle stuff, right? I mean, that's where people get into trouble, right? Is they try and make lifestyle changes that aren't sustainable or that they don't enjoy or they don't, in other words, it becomes a challenge, it becomes a chore, And like you say, the fact that you don't think about it, the fact that you consciously make choices to get this and get that versus the other, and you don't feel like you miss anything, right? Like when I talk about a Beyond Meat burger, I don't feel like I'm missing out on the regular deal, right? It's become a deal. It's something I can sustain, right? And some of the different food choices that I make, um, but I don't completely try and just run away from everything um, to where I wouldn't, where I can't sustain. I try and keep some things in balance to where I can at least sustain this lifestyle. So I think that's important. I think people try and cut things out and go without something that, you know what, maybe if you just disciplined yourself to take a little bit of it, just, do some, not freaking go crazy and then, find
Well,
other alternatives and hacks to what you really love and you can lifestyle it forever.
I think where people get in trouble is they give themselves green lights too early in the process. I didn't do like, an ice cream cone, every once in a while, the first 6 months. No, I mean, I think you have to experience a significant amount of time with a very strict adherence to whatever your plans are going to be. And then once you've had some success, then come back and perhaps introduce some, um, motivational treats, if you will, or green lights or whatever you want to call them. But I think people get a little, let themselves off the hook a little early in the process. Like, I think that's where we get in trouble because it's too easy to revert back. I knew I couldn't do it. I knew I wasn't strong enough, so I didn't do it for a long time. And now I do, but I feel like I've gotten to a place where I'm happy, so to speak, with my progress, and I know I've got a ways to go, but I don't feel like one, cheat, if you will, or one treat will, completely blow up all of the work that I've done.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. Good point. So, because you do need to, you do. There are some hard decisions. You're right. There are some things that you really kind of have to discipline yourself on. I mean, particularly, for me, trying to, it's for whatever reason, probably something I read or whatever, the avoidance of wheat and particularly grains in general. It's a super hard conscious focus for me to avoid, you know, certainly wheat, number one, but just grains in general. Um, and, which means, they set bread down at your table, not eating bread, right? And, or just not having it brought to the table. And, found hacks. I found alternatives to traditional bread, but, trying to make sure those hacks don't become, just as bad, right? But try and make sure that, you're not trading off one bad habit for another. But, bread's one of those things where, God, I hadn't had a biscuit in a lifetime now. It just seems like crazy. And I love biscuits, and, again, I've got alternative hacks that I substitute with that aren't wheat based and typically, without sugar and all those kind of things. But even in those options, even though they're hacks for a little bit of a bread substitute, they're pretty limited, right? It's not like I'm eating I don't eat sandwiches, don't eat bread, I don't eat burgers with buns, like yesterday for part of my breakfast was a piece of toast with peanut butter on it, which that's a special deal for me. Like I say, and breakfast for me is at
like
1:00
cake
in the afternoon. It is, and it's on Saturday, right? That's my, Saturdays and Sundays I get that. During the week, if I eat it all, it's going to probably be a salad most likely for lunch or a chicken salad or something like that, if any protein at all. So anyhow, again, we get off on a tangent, but you're right. You really need to, you do have to say no to some things, right? You can't just be half green light, half yellow, and half red, right? You gotta, there are things that you have to stop. I'm just saying is people have to be careful. You literally have to try and figure out what can you sustain lifestyle wise, because it's better to me to make a gradual lifestyle change that improves you somewhat and be able to sustain it versus be able to do something 6 months, make this dramatic change, and then revert back to where you were before. To me, that's, anyway, that's just me. It's my take.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, but you know what? I'm leaning towards ranch water. That may be when I get to Vegas. I think ranch water may be high on my list.
Or just mineral water on the rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an option. I'm doing that now. Doesn't sound like a good Vegas thing.
No?
I'm probably not doing. Nah, probably not. Not this trip. Not with the boy.
We'll see.
You should jump in your truck and come over and see us in Vegas. You know the town. I mean, you're not that far from us.
Sure. Yeah.
Halloween weekend, brother. We're there.
And
this thing's going to drop. With this dude's going to drop. So now, with this episode, they'll be listening to this. You'll be in the woods running around like a caveman, and I'll be in Vegas also running around somewhat like a caveman. Hopefully both of us have our clothes on. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I hope so. You just reminded me of one of the weirdest feelings or sensations or experiences when I lived in Vegas and would go on this trip after being out in almost complete darkness for 10 days or whatever it was, and then coming back to Vegas, that last hill that you come up over and see the lights of Vegas. I mean, the juxtaposition shock of, being in the dark and then rolling into Vegas. I mean, it's one thing to leave your home and go to Vegas, and even then it's a huge sight, right? All the lights and everything. But then imagine being out in the wilderness and then coming into Vegas at night. It's a huge shock to the, to your like sensory overload.
I could see that for sure. For sure. Well, if you feel like you want to get out of the dark for a few minutes, come over and see us. We'll be there. We'll put you up. Hell, we can put you on the floor. You'll feel like you're in a freaking 5-star hotel based on where you've been sleeping.
Yeah. So keep the light on for me.
Bring your sleeping bag. All right, brother. Now look, we're into an hour. We haven't talked about what you eating and our quotes. So we need to what you eat and we need to quote. And
let's go. You want my quote?
You want to stink and fire this thing up and fire through it, and then
I'm over it.
You just won't let us.
I'm over it. All right. My quote, I found another motivational poster quote with an unknown author. And what I find is I think with these quotes, if the author's unknown, there's probably a group of people arguing that they're the first ones to say it. But pretty simple. If you want to succeed, focus on changing yourself, not others. Goes back to the, hey, if my life was only like that, like this, I could do that, just all these, if only I could, mentality, which I think we nowadays get into a trap of focusing on a lot of outside influence and not what we're doing to change our situation. So if you want to succeed, focus on changing yourself, not others.
That is beautiful. And I mean, that is something that I try and lean into, because I've spent a lot of my life, my kids will tell you, trying to change them. And that's so huge. And what it's not, and the only thing in that when you say succeed, I mean, it depends on what you define as success. But I mean, I think you could replace that with, if you want to be happy,
Yeah.
There's if you want to be happy, focus on changing yourself and not the others, because you know what, they got to be they, and they're going to do what they're going to do, and you can stress and wear yourself out and suffer because other people won't do. And it doesn't have to be necessarily your kid, just the other people in general. And at the end of the day, worry about yourself and worry about focusing on trying to change you. And again, I can't say that I still don't. I still don't want to change other people. I can't say that I'd still like to wave a magic wand, and I still don't believe, to some extent, if my kids would just listen to me, they'd all be super happy. But you know what?
Don't hold your breath.
It is what it is. No, it's an outstanding. Yeah, I've quit doing that. So outstanding quote, Mr. Ed. You brought the heat with the quotes today. So good job.
What do you got?
All right. Well, we're both apparently on a success mode and defining success. So mine starts off with the word success is personal. So stop comparing your apples to their oranges. So a little produce component flipped into my quote there. So
I see what you did there.
Success is personal. So yeah, you like that, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Success is personal. So stop comparing your apples to their oranges. And man, for this Instagram, Facebook, I don't know, this whole social media world that we live in, thank God, for me, it's never caught on. But man, the world seems to live in envy of everybody else. It's the craziest
That's
thing
a quote right there. That is a quote. Can you save that for? Can I use that next week? The world seems to live in the envy of everyone else.
Yeah,
I love it.
That would be. Lord, write that down. Put that down for my memoirs when I go to writing those. Would you?
Take yourself seriously much.
Hey, lots of people have written memoirs. Why in the hell can't I write a damn memoir?
Yeah, Winston Churchill, Harry Houdini.
I'm still young, brother.
Craig Slate.
I'm still freaking young. I'm still young.
All right.
So
anyway,
but yeah, I mean, they do. We do. So much. It's like everybody's like trying to see how everybody else has got it better than they do. I don't know. It's ridiculous, but
it's good.
Anyway, this guy, and so through this quote, so Johannes Salamu, and I'm sure I mispronounced that.
Mm-hmm.
It's YOHANCE SALIMU. Go ahead.
I watched the clip you sent over. I think, he got me all pumped up. I think that's maybe what turned me around today. Sometimes there are folks, whether it's their story or their delivery, that just resonate and inspire. And he's a good one. Check him out.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is everybody listening? Yeah, check him out. Like I say, I gave you the spelling because I'm sure I mispronounced it. Did the best I could with my Texas slang and my West Mesquite education. Anyway, great story of what I've seen of him. I don't know much about him other than I came across this quote. I tend to look up people when I get a quote from somebody. If I don't already know them, I try and look them up to make sure I'm not quoting somebody that maybe doesn't, share values, or maybe they're full of it. I don't know. And this guy may be. All I know is I watched his video. It's a good video. Seems like a great story. Homeless guy that freaking turned his life around or made something of his life. Yeah. So inspirational for sure. For sure. All right, and now, what are you putting in that gullet of yours? What's your gullet loader of choice this week?
I didn't have anything extraordinary that I liked per se, but there was one thing I did not like, and I hate to do this because I'm trying to be positive, but I had a plant-based cookie. I don't even know if I should mention the manufacturer because I like their stuff. But I like their stuff.
We talk about people that are good. Well, you can talk about what you know what, if you want to, you know what, hopefully you've got 7 good things you can say about their company and 1 bad.
You know, so this Larry and Lenny company, they make these protein cookies, which for me is as close to a real cookie as I'll get if I want to have a treat. And I picked up one of they have a new product and it's plant-based. I should have kept the wrapper, which I think the original version is plant-based, but this one it's a little bit different. But man, it was really bad. I took 2 bites of it and threw it away. So I hate to say it.
Well, so it's Larry and Lenny. Which cookie should they avoid? Just, we don't want to, you know what? We want to send our listeners to good shows, good food. And you know what? We want to have them avoid spend their money on something that's cruddy.
Yeah. Well, it's the one that's just marketed plant-based. Like it's a little bit smaller than the traditional one. But look, you're better off if you just avoid anything that says cookie on it. But if you have to have something and want a healthy alternative, I'm going to guess that plant-based version, you're not going to like it.
So does Larry and Lenny have good cookies or good food that is not in this? So what do they make? What's their shtick? What do they start with? What's their? I don't know. I don't know Larry and Lenny.
Really? I'm surprised.
Yeah.
So they have a line of what some would call glorified junk food, or junk food for health conscious folks. Right. So I think their first product, it's called the complete cookie, which is, a protein cookie. It's also plant-based, but this new version, it's called the Boss cookie. At least the one that I had, I did not like it at all. So the first version, by all means, love it. The complete cookie. And even some of their bars, the complete bar, non-GMO, it's basically, just like any other protein product out there.
I'm guessing they probably got a ton of sugar in them. How bad's the sugar content?
Let me see. Actually, it wasn't that bad. Well, yeah, I don't want to take up too much time looking this up, but
people can look it up.
Yeah.
Remind me to tell you about next week, because it's not on my what you eating this time. So I got something. I found a super alternative to a Mounds bar.
Oh wow, that sounds good.
So I'm gonna save that. Keep you waiting with bated breath, figuratively and literally.
Cool.
But my what you eating this week is, and Laura, maybe we should, you know what? I think I may put this up on my LinkedIn. So, in fact, instead of promoting the pod this week, I'm going to promote what you eating, because I made world famous sun-fed squash, tater, and sausage meal. It is super good. So you can go to Sunfed's webpage and you can find the recipe, or you can check out my LinkedIn page and it'll be a link to the Sunfed page for the recipes at. But mine is, Tanya's allergic to yellow squash, so it was zucchini, calabacita, it was potatoes, onions, red onion, sausage, brushed with garlic and olive oil and herbs with a little, what's the herb? I can't think of that herb. I don't know. It's a good one. Sage, maybe a sage on top. It was fantastic. So anyway, I'll be putting that out there. But that's what I'm eating. It is fall, and it is that time of year when the Aggies are beating the hell out of Alabama, and squash is in season, baby. It is my favorite freaking time of year. So
that was a heck of a game.
That was one hell of a game, and I know by the time everybody hears this,
we're already a week removed.
Top 10. Yeah, we're a week removed, and then this will drop Halloween, so A&M probably back in the top 10 by then. On their way to Alabama, hopefully they'll lost one more game, and A&M will be on their way to the championship.
Yeah. They beat Missouri yesterday.
They did. They thumped them. So, yeah, it's just too bad the Ags kind of got off to a rough start trying to get everything figured out against Arkansas and I guess it was Mississippi State. So it'd be a whole different story right now if they'd have won those games, even just one of them. They just won one of those games, it'd be a different story. But it is what it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is.
Well, let's wrap up this fun-sized version, snack-sized version.
Let's do so, Ed. I think that's a good plan.
I have to go make some squash potato sausage casserole.
You should do that. You should do that. The family will love you for it. I'm telling you. And Bryce, but this is a meal that's if he eats half of it, it still only costs you a few bucks. I mean, it's economical. It's healthy. It's produce based. I mean, it's all freaking it lines up. It lines
Checks
up with everything you're about.
Wow.
All the boxes. It may be the perfect meal ever. I see your mind blowing. I love it. So, all right. Well, Ed, in order for us to wrap this up, you know what you must do now.
Wrap up.
Maybe you don't. I don't know. It seems like this. We've been doing 20 episodes. Pretty sure you know what to do now.
All right. Well, I'd just like to take a moment and thank everyone for joining us today.
Bow your heads, everybody. Ed's going to deliver the benediction.
Yeah. Well, seriously, if you like what we're doing, do us a favor. Follow us, like us, repost, share, tell your friends, or send Craig all the hate mail. Yeah, that you have in mind. But follow us at the Fresh CrEd on Instagram, at CrEd Fresh on Twitter, the Fresh CrEd on YouTube. Watch us listening. Obviously, if you're listening now, you've figured out a way. But there are several ways to hear us on Spotify as well as Apple Podcasts, which I listen on Apple Podcasts. I prefer that medium. I rarely watch. There are folks that have shared with me that they like to watch it or have it up while they're working on something else. So we're keeping people company.
Where do they watch us at? Where do they watch us at, Ed? How do they watch us? Is it on a network somewhere?
On YouTube.
On CBS or Fox? Oh, that's right. We're on the YouTube thing.
I said YouTube.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't hear you say that.
Yeah, no, I said the Fresh CrEd on YouTube. So that's it. You ruined my flow, but thanks. You brought it to a grinding halt.
That's what I'm here for, baby. Just to make it all seamless and smooth.
Sounds good.
So, all right. Well, Ed, I love seeing your smiling face. I like when we close and you got that big Ed grin working. You know, likewise. I know that's a reflection of your heart. And Laura, of course, you always are smiling. And Violet looks beautiful again today. So anyway, guys, have yourself a wonderful Sunday, a wonderful finish of the weekend. And then for those of you listening, I hope today was an outstanding Halloween and it's an outstanding Halloween week. We will see you guys here next week. So take care. We are out, guys. Take care. See y'all.
See ya.
Bye-bye.